Martinez, breakaway. And take up their positions for the start of the match. In all of these Champions League matches this week, all of the European matches, the victims of those devastating floods in Valencia and the surrounding areas as well are being remembered. So here we go, Inter against Arsenal, both unbeaten in the Champions League. They've both got 7 points, and neither Inter nor Arsenal have yet to concede a goal in the Champions League this season. There is the whistle from the Romanian referee, Istvan Kovac, and a very positive start from Arsenal, kicking off and immediately launching an attack down the left wing. But Martinelli, the ball eventually coming out off him, and it's a throw into Inter, level with the edge of their own penalty area. Just looking at the Arsenal lineup, Havertz very much in a centre-forward position.
He is. It was an interesting start, wasn't it? It was like quite a progressive, positive pass right from the kick-off, wasn't it? Played through into that wide area with Timber bombing on. But you're right, John. Havertz has, taken up that position right between the Inter back three.
And here is Havertz, but the ball bounces away from him, and then there's a foul on Zielinski. Although the referee, with Inter in possession, allows Inter to play on, and they eventually play the ball back to the veteran goalkeeper, Sommer. There's lots of experience in this Inter side. In actual fact, this season they've got the oldest average starting 11 in the Champions League, but in this team tonight, 6 30-somethings, as Taremi dives in and is fouled, and it's a free kick to Inter inside their own half that Lautaro Martinez is going to take. It was Gabriel, just a little shove in the back on Taremi.
Yeah, he got a little bit tight. I mean, I like the way Gabriel does go and get really tight two players. He won the first one, then it came back, and he just had his arms all around the back of Taremi. I'm not sure if it was a foul, but it certainly looked like it.
Here is Taremi, the Iranian World Cup player. We saw him score twice against England in Qatar. Inter swinging the ball right across to Dumfries. Dumfries shoots, he's hit the bar! It bounces out. Still a chance for Zielinski, left side of the area, but his little chip drifts straight behind. That was rather a waste from the Polish international, but what a shot from Dumfries. I have to confess, I thought that was goal-bound, and it came back off the underside of the bar.
What a strike. Brilliant strike with the right foot from Dumfries. On the right-hand side corner of the 18-yard box, the ball makes its way out to him. He has a touch. Timber doesn't quite get tight enough, and he just hits it full on with the laces, right boot, little bit of the outside of the boot to it, and it just swings round. Nobody touches it, rattles off the crossbar and back into play.
Well, that's a let-off for Arsenal after the recent difficulties. If they'd conceded a goal in what was the third minute, as they come forward again, and now a shot from Çalhanoğlu from best part of 25 yards that had Raya diving down to his right, and that was not far wide of the foot of the post.
Yeah, shaky start from Arsenal, wasn't it? Out of possession, not quite getting close enough, not enough of a bite in the tackle. 2 efforts on goal now from Inter, and you can't allow the kind of space they did for Çalhanoğlu on his right foot. He's got a lovely right foot. He'll shoot from anywhere within 25-30 yards.
So that's Matthew Upson, former Arsenal and England central defender. We're here inside San Siro as Gabriel just heads the ball away, and Arsenal now. And poor touch from Marino, that gives possession back to Inter. Taremi just knocked it back into his own half. So this is 5 Live. You can listen as well to the live radio, to 5 Live. You'll find it on the BBC Sounds app if you're on the move. And we're also keeping you updated on the decider, the third one-day international between the West Indies and England. We'll get an update shortly, but here's Martinez, Lautaro Martinez, the Argentine World Cup winner, to Dumfries on the right. Dumfries curls the ball over everyone inside the box, and it bounces away out towards the far side, where the Arsenal captain Bukayo Saka wins a throw-in for the visitors. So, West Indies, England, Daniel Norcross is monitoring it.
I am, and England have just lost a wicket. They've lost their 5th. The partnership of 70 has been broken. Sam Curran skied one up in the end. The ball did absolutely nothing. It was full and it was straight, and he went for the big heave. It went straight up in the air. He was caught by the substitute Hayden Walsh, who's out there because Alzari Joseph seems to have left the field for reasons unknown. Curran out, gone for 40, 52. England are 98 for 5 after 27 overs.
OK, thank you, Dan. Arsenal with the ball deep inside their own half as Ball is played right across the edge of the penalty area, but Arsenal are able to deal with that, and it's played back to Gabriel, who turns it right back to Raya, just a couple of yards off the goal line, and Arsenal do play it out long in the end from the right back position from Ben White, but it was beyond Havertz, and Inter have got it back on the edge of their own penalty area. So Inter 0, Arsenal 0. I hope you're enjoying the sound of the Giuseppe Meazza. The drums, you can hear them, the flags are waving in the middle tier to our left. It's all black and blue, the nerazzurri of Internazionale. And now here is Bissek, the left-sided German central defender, who carries the ball long downfield and then gets it back, and in the end it was just touched out of play by the back-tracking Bukayo Saka for a throw-in to Inter down the left.
Inter have started brightly, haven't they? Certainly when Arsenal are in possession, if Raya has the ball or the two centre-backs, they are pressing high, midfield are pushing in, they're going to really apply a lot of pressure in and around that area, hoping for a mistake from Arsenal. I think that's going to be key tonight. While you want to play and have the ball and move the ball and be brave with it, you've also got to be careful you don't turn it over in bad areas, and I think Inter are really looking for that little transition of play whenever they can press.
Yeah, remember how in the first match in the group for Inter, you might have been listening that night at the Etihad Stadium, how Inter were so well organised, a tactically brilliant display, and now Taremi and Lautaro Martinez, but between them there were defenders back there as well in the D. Eventually they were too close to one another and the ball deflected all the way through to Raya, who's given it out long to Martinelli with two Inter players, and eventually he carries the ball over the white line just in front of where Simone Inzaghi is standing, darkly dressed with his black hair hanging down, and it's out for a throw-in to Inter.
I thought Martinelli could have just knocked the ball in behind De Vrij then, as De Vrij came outside to the right side of the pitch from the centre-back position. Big hole of space in behind him. Martinelli, for me, just knock it in there and run. You know, he's not going to cope with him for pace, but he just tried to bring it down, and De Vrij came and applied pressure and won the throw-in just with good pressure, really. But Martinelli has to run him in behind.
Dumfries takes the throw, it comes back to him, and then Marino, rather a strong challenge as the two of them jump together. He's caught Dumfries, I think, with his shoulder as they jump together, and Dumfries has collapsed down onto his back, and the referee was quickly across. He's given the free kick, but I think it's only a word of warning for Marino.
He looked completely poleaxed there, didn't he, Dumfries? I thought he'd almost knocked him out. It was not the best time challenge from Marino. He's never going to win the ball. It was bouncing up in the air, and he arrives really late, actually. I think Dumfries does well not to actually really connect badly with either his head or his shoulder.
Yeah, so it's a free kick to Inter that is touched by Çalhanoğlu to Zielinski, and now Çalhanoğlu with a low cross in towards the near post that is cleared away by Havertz back inside his own penalty area. Again, it's the Turkish international Çalhanoğlu. Zielinski takes it down into the Arsenal left full-back position, where Martinelli just gets something on that to prod it out for another throw to Inter, although he felt that it should have gone the other way, but the Romanian assistant was very decisive, gave the throw-in straight away. 7:45 matches have been underway for some time. Still Blackburn 0, Stoke 0, Coventry 0, Derby 0 and Millwall 0, Leeds 0. And we've already brought you commentary on Aston Villa's defeat in the Champions League tonight. Dumfries with the throw-in, which is headed away by Partey on the edge of the 6-yard box. Marino then nods it further away. Arsenal with their returning club captain Martin Odegaard among the substitutes tonight, but without Declan Rice here. That was the big news yesterday, that Declan Rice was not travelling because of a foot injury, wasn't able to put a boot on this week, so this is just the third match that he's missed for Arsenal in all competitions this season. So Inter winning another free kick centre field, just a high foot from Partey, a free kick to Inter over on the left-hand side.
Yeah, I wasn't too sure why the referee gave that. I mean, I think that it was almost an anticipation from Bissek that the challenge was going to come in, and I don't think there was a lot of contact at all, but the referee appears to be happy to be giving plenty of fouls.
Inter playing from left to right as we look here from right over the halfway line, staring down on it. Çalhanoğlu Plays the ball out towards the left-hand side. Back to Bissek, and then back to Stefan de Vrij, the Dutch international central defender in the centre circle. Inter keeping possession, although Marino tries to win it back, but it just runs back into the Inter half. Underway as well in the 8 o'clock kickoffs in the Championship. Luton 0, Cardiff 0, and in fact, let's hear how things have started in the match involving the leaders, Sani Rodravagala.
Well, Preston North End 0, Sunderland 0, 10 minutes gone, but Preston started really brightly, and Kane Kessler-Hayden, loan from Aston Villa, missed from 2 yards out. Huge chance for Preston, goalless at the moment. Preston 0, Sunderland 0.
And there has been an early goal in the Coventry Derby match, and it's the visitors, Derby, who are winning 1-0 with a goal from Derry Yates. Also, to the Den, Millwall Leeds, both sides very much in form, Aaron Paul.
Absolutely, 0-0. Leeds just starting to flex their muscles a bit. Aronson and Peru both forcing decent saves out of Lucas Jensen in the Millwall goal. Wilfred Gnonto has seen a curled effort cleared behind by Jake Cooper. Millwall 0, Leeds 0, 26 gone.
So no goals yet in any of the 8 o'clock kickoffs in the Champions League. And this is a red button night, by the way. Champions League final score is in action, so you can listen to the 5 Live commentary on there and watch the Vivid printer with the graphics and the analysis. That is via the red button, the iPlayer, BBC Sport website and app. Just click on Champions League final score and you will find it all there. Inter 0, Arsenal 0. And Inter have had the better of it so far, Matthew Upson.
Yeah, they have. They just look more comfortable, the more assertive team. Arsenal not really got into a rhythm at all with the ball, and caught out once or twice defensively as well.
Dumfries with the shot that hit the crossbar, so it hit the lower part of the face of the crossbar and came straight back out. Dumfries now lifts it forward, but then the referee's given another free kick. Yeah. This is for a tug by Timber.
He's not shy in blowing his whistle, giving a foul, is he? I mean, I think it's a little bit of both, to be honest, but Timber, the one penalised.
Yeah, I think it was more aggressive from Timber. He had a real handful of the front of his shirt.
Yeah.
So Inter go all the way back to their former Swiss international goalkeeper Jan Sommer, as he is now. 7 clean sheets in 10 Champions League appearances for Inter. All the way at the back, it's played across by Pavard, the French World Cup player. Then to Sommer, out into the left-back area. That's where Darmian is, another of the 30-somethings, 35 next week, the former Manchester United man, Darmian. Arsenal have the ball back. They're in the red shirts with the white sleeves and the white shorts and red socks. Arsenal have only been here once before in the European club competitions to play against Inter, and it ended in a famous 5-1 victory in which Edu was one of the goal scorers that week. Your old teammate who's very much been in the news this week.
He really has, isn't he? I looked at that game earlier and I saw that he was on the score sheet, and a quite magnificent performance from Thierry Henry that night. I mean, there was a few in an Arsenal shirt, but that one actually really did stand out. I remember it well. Yeah,
it's got a very special place, hasn't it, that one in the hearts of Arsenal supporters. I'm sure some of them who are up there high to our right would have been here that night as well.
3-0 down after the first leg, weren't they?
That's right. As Inter break away with Dumfries on the halfway line, plays it forward through for the run of Taremi, although Partey's gone with him. Taremi works it across, but there were 2 Arsenal men there on the edge of the 6-yard box. But excellent work from the Iranian. I thought that was a lost cause, but he found the pass to Martinez.
I thought Partey just got too tight there almost. I kept thinking, don't foul him, you're going to trip him up in the box, and he just gets too tight and allows Taremi that little bit of space just to get the cross in.
Excellent play there though from Partey. And now Arsenal are able to break. Trossard. Now here's Saka into the action for the first time. The Arsenal captain in the absence of Odegaard takes on Bissek, is able to get the crossover, but Bissek just stuck out a foot and deflected it behind him. We have the first corner of the match to Arsenal.
Yeah, first time they've been able to get the ball out to Saka with any kind of space to run at Bissek. He doesn't really do too much of a skill. He just slows him down, then goes again on the outside. It'd be nice to have seen him try and cut inside onto his left foot to see if he actually had the beating of Bissek, which I think he has on a 1v1.
Such an important night tonight for Arsenal, it feels, in the context of everything that's been going on. Lose here tonight, the manner of the defeat, then, you know, that is you know what the headlines will be. but if they're able to win, put in a fine performance, then everything's settled down. Still waiting for this corner to be taken, but Martinez has been shoved over, or at least he's gone to ground.
Yeah.
Gabriel came together, and Gabriel did he shoved him in the chest, and of course Martinez flopped down onto his back.
He did push him away. I mean, I'm pretty sure
it's a yellow card
Martinez
for both
did
of
need
them.
to fall over.
And Gabriel can't believe it. He put his hands on his chest.
I've had a feel, right since the start of the game, I've had a feel with this referee. I've just already mentioned about some of the fouls he's given, and okay, they're not ridiculous decisions, but you know, you just feel you're early on in a big game, just let it flow a little bit, no one's complaining, and let the game breathe. And he just, for me, that yellow card there just tells me he doesn't need to get involved in that, the referee.
Yep, yellow card for Gabriel and for Martinez. Corner then, finally it'll be taken. This is one of those where the Arsenal players are grouped together at the back post. Saka with the delivery, deep. Havertz heads it back across the box, but then it's headed away for Inter, but doesn't clear the penalty area. Down in the right back area, Martinelli is onto this. Martinelli turning and still just keeping possession, and then playing it back to the Spanish international, Merino, the summer arrival. Merino works it to Timber. Now Martinelli with the outside of his right boot. It's flicked on with the head of Havertz, but Inter are able to clear that and actually look to get the ball up towards Lautaro Martinez. 6 goals in his last 8 games, but excellent from Arsenal, dispossess him. And now Saka again receives possession, a step over from him, back centrally to Partey, now on the edge of the box. That was a heavy touch there from Trossard, just when I thought he might have a chance there, perhaps to have a shot at goal, but it ran away from him. And now Inter run away with the ball over the halfway line with Dumfries on the right-hand side. Passes Mikel Arteta, who is standing in black and grey, claps his hands above his head because Arsenal were quickly back into position and able to force Inter to go back to the halfway line.
Yeah, after a cagey start, just opened up a little bit there, the game. A little bit more exciting, got the crowd up. Arsenal with an opportunity, Inter on the break, and now it's very much back in that tactical, steady moment. Arsenal back in shape, very much a 4-4-2, quite a rigid system. And Inter knocking the ball around.
We do now have a couple of goals in the Champions League tonight, in the 8 o'clock kickoffs at least. It is Red Star Belgrade 0, Barcelona 1. Inigo Martinez for Barcelona, and PSG are 1-0 up on Atletico Madrid. Warren Zaire-Emery, the goal scorer. Here's Martinelli for Arsenal. Martinelli still goes, gets the ball over, left-footed cross to the back post. Darmian is there to head it up. Doesn't quite bounce out of play, and in fact Trossard got there first, and Darmian had to put a foot in as the ball rolled towards the corner flag, and it's another corner to Arsenal. So it'll be interesting to see here, Matt, you know, the referee having put down a marker and effectively said, if we see pushing and shoving inside the area, you know, I'm going to take action.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough, but you're right early on in the game. I think getting a yellow card out, you're putting both players in a difficult position now for the rest of the game. Just a talking to would have done, but you're right, if he's going to do that, then he's got to keep an eye on everything.
Corner then, and again we have the 2 players, Merino and Gabriel, near the penalty spot, and then 4 others now running across the 6-yard box. In it goes, but it's headed away for Inter, very congested. Martinelli with a shot into a crowded penalty area. There's an Inter player who's down, actually sitting with his legs on the pitch, but his bottom in the net, and the referee stopped play so he can receive some attention. Inter 0, Arsenal 0, and with Gabriel getting that early yellow card, and Arsenal having already received 3 red cards this season, which have cost them. Another thing they don't want tonight.
No, it's cost them big, but I tell you what, when they swing a corner in, they know how to do that well. I will say the delivery was superb from Saka. It had pace on it, it was dropped right in that 6-yard box area, and they have 3-4 players attacking the ball with other players milling around the goalkeeper, making his life difficult. It's very hard to defend against. Yeah,
Declan Rice, of course, a very important set-piece taker, but they do have options, and Saka is one of them. And it's Dumfries, the player, who I think he fell against the post, and whether he's going to be able to whether he's going to be all right or not.
I think it was maybe a bit more of Partey or Gabriel just landing on him. You know, that run that Gabriel makes, very similar to the goal he scored at City, where he makes that kind of curving run to the back post. And I mean, everything's into the challenge. The kitchen sink's in the way he attacks the ball, and I think he just lands on Dumfries' leg when he comes down, which is causing him a bit of discomfort.
Atletico Madrid have equalised in Paris against PSG. Nahuel Molina, so it's 1-1 that one. Looking at the matches tonight, I thought very interesting. PSG against Atletico Madrid, and 2 early goals in that match. And as I say,
you're loving this format, John. Let's not start.
My personal jury is still out on it. Inter 0, Arsenal 0. Whatever one might think of the format, if you haven't clocked this yet, the Champions League highlights are very much on the BBC this season. So there will be a match of the day, a Champions League match of the day with Mark Chapman tonight, which will be a little later than it normally would be, because there'll be an extended news on the television after the
Why is that?
Yes, I don't think I need to explain that. And also the highlights of all this week's Champions League matches can be watched via the iPlayer from 10 o'clock. Arsenal with the ball deep inside their own half, played up towards Havertz on the halfway line, who was sort of manhandled over, and Arsenal have got a free kick for that, 5 or 6 yards inside Inter territory.
I don't mind that with Arsenal. When you get 2 or 3 passes off deep, you get impressed high. Inter can smell that they might nick the ball, and then they hit that long one into Havertz. I like that. I think it really does bypass a lot of players. It could be a really good ball.
Ball played forward by White for Saka, but Bissek is able to just shepherd it behind for a goal kick. The other thing as well, with all of the various talking points around Arsenal, one thing that we didn't discuss yesterday when we were able to speak to Mikel Arteta and Bukayo Saka, which we might have done otherwise, is all of the accusations about Arsenal and the dark arts this season. And here they are up against Inter, who, they are very well versed in all that kind of thing, as are all of the top clubs. But I think we've already seen a lot going on in this match.
Yeah, I think Italian football kind of breeds that a little bit as well, doesn't it? That's very much part of the culture of that league. And also, you've already alluded to the fact that the amount of experience in this team and on the bench. I mean, looking at the bench, look at the experience there with Barella, Mkhitaryan, Acerbi. I mean, DiMarco, big players that have played in big moments and big games, and they know how to manage the game, and the gamesmanship may be a factor here tonight.
Yep. Inter 0, Arsenal 0. Arsenal up against the Italian champions. Last night, Liverpool gave the German champions what for, didn't they? But the Premier League champions lost to the Portuguese champions. And there is Timber. He's in on the challenge, and he's caught Frattesi, and that's another free kick. And in the first quarter of this match, it has been littered, in the proverbial sense, with free kicks.
Foul after foul after foul. I mean, some of them are justified. A couple have been a little bit soft. I mean, I think Timber's making a genuine attempt for the ball. I think Marino's a little bit late in the tackle just before then. It's a little bit of an indicator that Arsenal aren't quite at their sharpest, I wouldn't say. I mean, they're doing okay, but it's not a confident Arsenal start to this game at all.
Inter 0, Arsenal 0. And we will have more European commentary for you tomorrow night on 5 Live Sport. We'll have all of the British and Irish clubs covered, but there will be commentary from Old Trafford on Ruud van Nistelrooy's 3rd match as the interim. So Manchester United against PAOK will be on 5 Live tomorrow night. That is an 8 o'clock kickoff. Back to Preston Sunderland, Sani Rudravajala.
Preston 0, Sunderland 0, 24 gone. North End are giving the leaders some real problems. Emil Rees the latest to miss with a header, but it's still goalless here. Preston 0, Sunderland 0.
And still, I think, just the 1 goal so far in the 5 matches in the Championship. Derby's goal at Coventry, which sees them lead 1-0. As the ball is played across the back line by Pavard to Sommer. Long left-footed clearance from him. Headed on by Lautaro Martinez. Lovely touch from Taremi, and it's Bissek who's marauding forward, the central defender, to the edge of the area. The cover was there though. Good work at the back by Gabriel, coming across. Gabriel and Saliba just exchanging a low 5 there. Bissek, I wasn't expecting him to arrive in that position.
No, it was strange how it came about. I mean, I think initially Saliba and Gabriel got a little bit muddled up. Both went and competed for the high ball, which left a massive hole over on the far side. And Bissek, from left side centre-back position, just got forward and it just opened up for him for a moment there.
We're going to Millwall in a moment, but Inter have got the ball 30 yards from the Arsenal goal, but they go back into the centre circle. So, an opening goal in what I think is the match of the night in the Championship. Aaron Paul.
Millwall 1, Leeds 0. Japhet Tanganga breaks the deadlock here. Really good work by Jake Cooper, just able to latch onto the diag, heading it across goal, and there was Tanganga catching the ball in the half volley and just stabbing it home past Ilan Melia. No chance of the Leeds goalkeeper getting to it. Millwall 1, Leeds 0. 40 minutes on the clock.
1-0 to the Millwall. Here's Martinelli into the penalty area for Arsenal, but Inter have got men back, gets the crossover, Bissek's able to head it down and he's headed it to his teammate Çalhanoğlu. Yes, Millwall have won their last 3 matches by 1-0. Here's Partey. There's another team who used to do that, wasn't there? Here's Martinelli.
Used to do that.
Martinelli. 0-0 would be a fine score, I think, tonight for Arsenal. Timber plays it in over everyone. Saka, the player closest to it, but Darmian was right with him. And it is a goal kick, 0-0.
I'll tell you, the discipline of this Inter team is impressive,
Isn't it?
It was a brilliant move there a moment ago. Saka does so well, wins the ball, gets it out wide to Martinelli's side. You think normally he's got this space, he's going to be driving in, he might have an opportunity to come inside. Well, there were 3-4 blue and black shirts racing back, blocking off channels. They're very clever, the angles where they run back into defensive positions. They know exactly what lines to cut off, how to stop players like Martinelli coming inside. I mean, it just shut up in front of him completely. The door closed from a really promising situation. And I mean, it's just, the whole team's very well drilled like that.
Yeah, they are by Simone Inzaghi, who, I don't know, will we see him in the Premier League one day? Here's Saka down the right-hand side against Bissek, into the area. Left foot shot, but it's straight at Sommer, who had his feet wide apart there and was able to drop forward and just scoop it up securely.
Yeah, that's what you want to see Saka do. And he walks away, he's frustrated with himself, Bukayo Saka. He has the space. He drops his shoulder inside the pitch, gets half a yard on Bissek, and he just doesn't strike it clean enough with his left foot. You normally see him bend that one into the far post, and he just kind of cuffed the ball a little bit along the ground. Simple save for Sommer.
And still 0-0. Yes, Simone Inzaghi was saying yesterday that he has had offers in the past to move to England, to move to the Premier League. He said both at Lazio and here at Inter, that he says that he is happy where he is, but no one knows the future.
He is just Italian football, though, isn't he? You know, when you see him, you know, I've got memories of him growing up watching him play. He just shouts Italian football, doesn't he?
Yeah. And as well, I know I was speaking to a couple of the regulars who follow Inter, and they were saying that the language, English, is actually a bit of an issue with him.
Right.
And I think that, you know, if there is a reason, that of course he can work on that. Here's Saka to Havertz, forward of the centre circle. Timber as Inter drop back into position in the striped blue and black shirts, black shorts and black socks. Martinelli, right-footed ball in, Sommer comes for it! And I'm not sure, did he get anything on that? I mean, he has collided there with the Arsenal man.
Yeah, I mean,
Marino,
he smashes Marino in the side of the head. I mean, I don't think he gets anything on the ball, Sommer. It's a bit of a 50-50. Great ball in.
It's gone for, I think it's been given as a corner, though, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was his gloves, his fist, and Marino's head sort of came together at the same time as the ball arrived.
Yeah.
And the final touch was off the goalkeeper's gloves, wide and behind for a corner.
Teasing cross, wasn't it? Martinelli on his right foot, in-swinging cross. Marino arriving in the box, which he does really well. Gets up well. Like I said, there's a real collision there. Gets a big thud in the back of the head from Sommer.
It's okay. He's not having to leave. You know, he's not receiving any treatment, which is mildly surprising. It's a corner then. Martinelli in right underneath the crossbar, but there were a whole group of players there. Inter were able to head it partly away, and then actually it's won by Çalhanoğlu, but Partey's able to get something on it. Trossard's going to try a shot from distance, 25 yards, but it sails away over the angle of post and bar by probably 5 yards. Red Star Belgrade have equalised against Barcelona. It's 1-1, and Vumpa with the equaliser for Red Star Belgrade. So 1-1 in that match. 0-0 here in Milan, on the dressing room side of the ground. As the outside of his boot, Pavard plays it forward. Martinez trying to get there. Partey back in midfield. Ben White back at right back. Odegaard is on the bench. Whether we see him tonight, I have my doubts, I must say.
No, I don't think he'll get on the pitch tonight. He's not done anywhere near enough work after being out for probably 2 months. And it could take a little bit of time for him to get back up to speed, to be playing and competing at the top level. But his presence in the dressing room and with the group, I think, is very important.
And then Declan Rice, as Arsenal have the ball just on the halfway line. You know, the fact that he wasn't able to get a boot on this week, as Arsenal with Saka. Saka has got the overlap there from White. It was blocked away by the defender. And then the foul off the ball by Saka as he tried to play it back through for White, and it's a free kick to Inter on the edge of the box. I mean, we don't know the details, obviously, but I mean, if he couldn't get a boot on this week, I mean, could he? Is it possible that he could be available for Sunday?
It's never that great when you don't hear the details. That's what I think of it. It's not too clear what the problem is, which for me sometimes feels like you don't, like I say, it could be anything. Inter 0, Arsenal 0.
Normally you're very good medically.
Well,
that's why I asked you the question.
Only with hamstrings.
There's Marino. Always gets a mention, doesn't it, Mike? Every game we do together. You might get a mention on Sunday when you and I are covering Chelsea against Arsenal as well, one of the 5 Live Premier League.
Although you don't like a run round Milan, do you?
No,
it's not your favourite city to run round, is it?
It's not my favourite city to run round, no. Free kick to Arsenal inside their own half, and it's going to be brought all the way back. We're going to go to one of the championship games in a moment or two, but Arsenal take it forward. Gabriel, but it's headed away and out of play for a throw into 10 yards inside their own half. It is half-time at Millwall. Aaron Paul.
It is Millwall 1, Leeds 0. The hosts ahead via a quality finish from Tanganga, despite Leeds dominating large parts of the half. Aronson, Pirro and Nonto have all had chances, but Tanganga on the half volley means at the break it is Millwall 1, Leeds 0.
Inter 0, Arsenal 0. An untidy match, and another free kick for Inter. Martinez has gone down. And Inter, after the earlier chances that they had and the early pressure, it looked as though that was going to set the pattern for the match. Dumfries for the shot that hit the crossbar and came back out, and the effort from Çalhanoğlu that was narrowly wide. But since then, Arsenal have settled very well, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. I think last 10 minutes they've looked a lot more confident. They're pressing a lot higher up the pitch. They've had a couple of chances. They've isolated Saka once or twice, which is important. And Inter can't get going at the moment, and it's not a particularly brilliant game, is it?
No. As it's headed forward by Zielinski, and then there's a foul by Taremi on Gabriel.
The referee's not helping. I mean, Arsenal are in clear possession of the ball there. Just play on. You know, every opportunity he's stopping it, and like I say, it just doesn't get the flow and the rhythm, doesn't help the flow and the rhythm.
I have to say, I didn't think Manchester City 0, Inter 0 was a great spectacle earlier in the season.
But you were at that one.
Yes, I was. Yeah. But quite a number of people said to me in the aftermath of that, what a marvellous tactical contest it was. But I have to say, it didn't get me off my seat. Inter 0, Arsenal 0, and Arsenal going all the way back to Raya. But you know, we cannot get away from the fact that if Arsenal get a 0-0 draw tonight, this sort of 0-0 draw, that's a really positive result.
It is. It would be a big job done, to be honest. To come away from here with a clean sheet would be amazing.
Disappointing for Aston Villa earlier. I would imagine we'll hear from Unai Emery at half-time in this match. Club Brugge, the Belgian champions, winning 1-0 against Aston Villa, which has put the blocker on Aston Villa's very good start back in the Champions League. David Raya with the ball on the edge of the area. In fact, we're going to hear from Theo Walcott at half-time, who'll obviously have a view on what's happening here in Milan tonight with Arsenal. He's on Match of the Day tonight with Mark Chapman. Here's Havertz down the left-hand side. Inzaghi actually runs out of his coaching area quick little steps down the touchline, clapping his hands as the two players continued down the left wing. Arsenal cut it back, bring it back more centrally, out to the right-hand side now with White, Partey, Thomas Partey just waiting, but Inter have got everyone behind the ball, so it's tapped back to Saliba, and then again to Partey. Football at walking pace now, inside the Inter half. It is your classic cat and mouse in a European match. Here's Timber though. He takes possession on the left-hand side again. Inzaghi goes running away, little steps down the touchline. He's way out of his coaching area. He's trying to get some information across. Martinelli is in possession of the ball, threads it between two Inter players. Timber back to the edge of the box, where Ben White had come all the way across from right back, almost in the Inter right back position.
He needed a little time to actually look there and think, is that actually Ben Wright in the, you know, kind of left wing position from right back? Well, it was. Don't know how he ended up there, to be honest.
Partey now near the halfway line, and then Saliba. Now Trossard has taken up a position on the right-hand side. Ball played across, but it was cut out by the diving Lautaro Martinez, and then at the back De Vrij is able to win a goal kick for Inter off Bukayo Saka, who has just gone down on one knee. No, he's okay. He's quick, he's back up on his feet and he's running back into position. It remains Inter 0, Arsenal 0, 10 minutes to go to half-time.
Cagey, you can just feel it, can't you? Neither team really kind of letting loose, having a go. It's not a swing for the fences kind of match, is it? It's very, okay, we're just going to sit here, we lose the ball, let's drop into shape, and then we'll wait and we'll be patient and we'll get a few passes off. And there's not a lot of, you know, of real drive or forward energy in this match so far. Both teams appear to not want to give up their clean sheet in the Champions League.
Yeah, bringing the half-time scores in those other two matches in the Championship as well, where it was Blackburn 0, Stoke 0 and Coventry 0, Derby 1, as Arsenal have a throw-in down the left-hand side, and Timber just chips the ball up into his hands and waits to take this, as the throw-in steals a few yards down the left and then takes the throw to Marino, who's running back towards the halfway line, uses Gabriel, and then Arsenal go all the way back to Saliba. David Raya is well out of his penalty area. He receives possession and then hits it long and right-footed downfield. That's chested down by Havertz. Havertz has got Saka available, and then Ben White joins in as well, comes back to Trossard nearer the halfway line. Trossard, the Belgian, is able to put his foot on the ball and actually have a look at the play ahead of him, but it's almost static. So it goes square to Timber now, and then Timber out to the left-hand side, which sets Inzaghi off down the touchline again, and then Martinelli against Dumfries, right-footed cross. He's got real whip on that, comes off an Inter-head. De Vrij and Bissek going for the same ball, and it bounces behind for another Arsenal corner from the right. It is Blackburn 0, Stoke 0 at half-time, and also Coventry 0, Derby 1 half-time.
I mean, it's another great ball from Martinelli with his right foot, in-swinger, really whips it. Difficult to deal with, but Inter have got great headers of the ball in that situation. De Vrij, Bissek, they're coping really well with those deliveries, and a lot of the time Havertz is being drawn out in the build-up, so he's not quite getting into the middle of the 6-yard box to attack those crosses.
Corner then for Arsenal. Again, 4 men beyond the far post, 2 men near the penalty spot. Any moment now, they'll all begin to move, which they do. Saka, left-footed, takes this into the near post. It's blocked by a defender. Partey stabs it across the 6-yard box, cleared on the edge of the area, and then Inter knock it away downfield, where Arsenal will have it on the halfway line. We've got a number of the English writers around us, and the question is being asked whether Arsenal should have had maybe a shout for a penalty when Sommer came out and punched the ball, yeah. But also Marino.
I think he got a piece of the ball though.
Well, that's what I thought. And I thought it all came together at the same time.
Yeah, it was one of those where it was, you know, they collided at the same time. It was a corner, so obviously it came off of his hand, which would tell me that he's got a right to challenge for that.
Yeah, that's what I would have said.
Yeah.
But interested to see it again in the light of that.
Yeah.
Still goalless here in Milan. Aston Villa losing 1-0, and Timber is pulled up for another foul on Dumfries.
Well, if
latest in a series
if
of.
he's not careful, the next one's going to be a yellow card. I think the referee just pointed to like 3 different places on the pitch where you've made fouls. He's probably on his last warning.
They take the free kick back towards the edge of their own penalty area. Inter. Then Çalhanoğlu back to Sommer with his long hair. Right-footed clearance headed up in the centre circle by Gabriel, heading it forward for Arsenal. But then Zielinski is able to lift it back into Arsenal territory. It's won back by Fratesi, and now Dumfries on the right, and his cross is stretching header away for Arsenal. Zielinski back into the box, lifted across by Fratesi, and then arriving on the edge of the 6-yard box. Taremi was there, but he was under pressure, and he could only stun-head it over the top of the crossbar.
Yeah, Ben White does just enough to put Taremi off. It's very difficult when you're in that full-back position. The ball's lofted overhead, you backpedal, and you're at such a disadvantage to really compete for the ball when you've got a centre-forward coming onto the ball with all the momentum, ability to jump. But he just uses his body quite well, Ben White. He doesn't head the ball, but jumps into Taremi, puts him off, doesn't allow him that clean contact.
Inter 0. Arsenal 0, as Trossard plays it forward for Saka. Saka on the edge of the area now. Trossard on the right-hand side. Trossard's ball across, but that's cleared away on the edge of the 6-yard area by Pavard. There's an announcement there for the Arsenal supporters. I couldn't quite hear what it was that was being said to them. Arsenal have got it back with Ben White. Now, they've got more of the possession in the match. It's about 53% possession, I think I saw just flash up on the screen for Arsenal. But they've not really extended Sommer in the goal, besides that incident that we were just talking about.
Yeah, I think one effort from Saka into the near post wasn't there, but it didn't really test him at all. Arsenal will be happy with this opening 45 minutes or so. I think they'll go in at half-time relatively pleased. They've been settled. They've kind of grown into the game.
Yep, they have. They've had a measure of control. And here's Saka now. Saka moving infield, square pass all the way across to Timber, who's come up from left bank. Martinelli now on the left-hand side. Martinelli drags the ball back. Timber's behind him. Timber curls it in, and Sommer, I mean, it looked to me as though he was about to catch it and suddenly changed his mind and punched it away. Still inside the penalty area. Saka looks for White. White's ball across, comes off Darmian and loops behind for another corner to Arsenal. Strange decision from Sommer.
Bizarre choice, wasn't it? The cross came in. It was so low, John, wasn't it? It looked a lot harder to punch it than catch it. And he's probably punched it down by his waist, almost, to try and clear the ball. It was a deflected cross, so it had a bit of a loop to it, but still you'd fancy him to be able to just claim that.
It would. Strange one. Corner then to Arsenal. I see Brest have taken the lead against Sparta Prague. So that is another excellent scoreline for Brest, who've really made quite an impact in this Champions League. Corner for Saka. Left-footed. In it goes again into the 6-yard box. Comes off the head of Pavard, which took it beyond the far post. Another Arsenal corner, but this time be from the left-hand side.
Those deliveries are causing problems, and Arsenal know that if they keep putting that ball in the right area, asking the question, something's going to land, something's going to drop at the feet of a player, or they're going to win that first contact and cause a real problem.
It's really bringing back memories of that match at Manchester City, where we saw lots of this.
So much.
And they defended stoutly.
Yeah.
And here they are again. Martinelli, this time from the left-hand side, to, I'm sure again, drop it in there into that busy 6-yard box. There it goes, actually towards the far post it is, and the header.
It's another corner.
Yeah, came off the defender at the back post, and it's another corner to Arsenal, a third consecutive corner. It was Saliba who was challenging it, and everyone's arms went up appealing for that one. The referee, good luck with that.
I mean, the trouble is that, you know, you win that first header And it's kind of, just in the replay, it looked like it came off Saliba's head, actually.
It did, yeah, it was Pavard who was challenging. And then I think Çalhanoğlu was, he was delaying the restart, and the referee has come across and had a word with him, but that's all. And it is another corner. So this is Arsenal's 7th corner of the first half, and it's their 3rd in a row. This is back on the other side. Saka to take this, left-footed in-swinger. In it comes again, chip to the near post, header from Gabriel, but that took it right across the 6-yard area. Arsenal still with it. Martinelli runs it out into the full-back position. 0-0 if you've just joined us on BBC 5 Live here in the stadium in Milan. Timber back to Martinelli. Martinelli against Dumfries. Gets the cross into the penalty area. Bisek heads that away on the edge of the 6-yard box. And Inter might break here. Dumfries playing it forward for Martinez. Lautaro Martinez against Saliba. And Martinez goes down. There wasn't much contact there. But it's a free kick that's been given, and you can hear the crowd are pressuring the Romanian referee to show a yellow card to Saliba. I think it's just going to be a free kick.
It's not a yellow card, it's barely a foul. I mean, he gets across really well, Saliba he covers the ground so quickly. Martinez was never going to get the wrong side of him, and he does make contact, but then Martinez just dives on the floor, tries to get Saliba in trouble. But the cross from Martinelli that led to that breakaway, again, the quality was really good. He's putting it in some really good areas, Martinelli.
Yeah, and Martinez, when he went down, was waving the imaginary yellow card, which the referee resisted. Free kick then for Inter into the area. Oh, Taremi, it's a penalty! Taremi flicked it on! It struck an Arsenal arm, and the referee's given Inter a penalty. It was Taremi, it was a strange motion from him, and that he tried to flick it forward. Marino, I think it was standing behind him. The ball's cannoned into Marino's arm, and the referee instantly said penalty, Inter.
Well, I just can't get my head round how this can be a penalty. I mean, in the Premier League, I just don't think it is. Well, I know for a fact it isn't, because his hand is in a perfectly natural position, Marino, and the ball is skimmed off the foot of Taremi that's 2 yards away, coming at pace. You can't get your hand out the way, and you're in a natural position. In the Premier League, it just doesn't get given as a penalty. It's ridiculous, really, and now Arsenal, have to face a penalty from nothing.
I mean, literally,
what can you do about it, John? What can you do about it? And your hand is in a perfect natural position.
At a right angle. Anyway, it's Çalhanoğlu who's got a brilliant record, penalty-taking record. Already scored a couple of goals this season, one of them from the penalty spot. Çalhanoğlu waiting, right-footed penalty, standing 1 foot in front of the other. The Turkish international, Raya, remember his penalty save against Atalanta, that brilliant penalty save. Arsenal holding their breath. They've yet to concede a goal in the Champions League this season, and Raya has actually walked off the line because the check's still going on, the VAR check. It says on the screen that the check's still going on, even though we're ready to take the penalty.
Well, it looks like the referee's still speaking.
Right, Çalhanoğlu now to take the penalty, right-footed. Raya doesn't save this one. The ball's in the back of the Arsenal net for the first time in the Champions League this season, and the Italian champions have the lead here. A very harsh award of a penalty. There really wasn't much Marino could do about it. He just couldn't get his arm out of the way. But a penalty for handball. It's been converted by Çalhanoğlu. And in added time at the end of the first half, Arsenal are behind. Inter 1-0 up.
Oh, the San Siro erupts, doesn't it? The noise around this stadium when that ball hit the back of the net was deafening. And it's just a shocking call from the referee, really. Inter haven't particularly deserved it. Arsenal, in the last 10-15 minutes, have been the better team. They've been applying more pressure, and it's just a crazy decision from the referee to award a penalty for that. And a player of his quality and the calmness and composure that he has, you felt the ball was always going to hit the back of the net, and he didn't disappoint.
You do feel for Marino, as they say, that really there simply wasn't time for him to get his arm out of the way. The ball's flaked, Taremi had his back to him. That Arsenal kick off, and that's the last action of the first half, and that's a real blow for Arsenal. They withstood the early storm. Dumfries, his shot hit the crossbar, but had control for much of the first period. But then an incident like that, and I'm afraid that just sums it up for Arsenal at the moment when a decision like that goes against them.
Absolutely. I think it's just the run that they're on, and there's nothing they can do about it. They've got to go in, they've got to regroup, they've got to come out, and the trouble is that to get something from this now, they've really got to be a bit bolder, a bit braver. It's been a cagey old first half. Neither team really wants to give too much away, and Arsenal are going to have to change that approach in the second half and throw more bodies forward and get more players in the box for sure.
So there we are, the players just leaving the field. There's been a number of goals that have just gone in the Champions League. Barcelona back in front, Lewandowski scored again. Feyenoord 0, Red Bull Salzburg 1. And half-time here in Milan, Inter are 1-0 up on Arsenal after that Çalhanoğlu penalty right at the end of the first period.
Well, Marino, Matt, has been involved in an incident at either end, and if you're summing it up, you know, it's a penalty if it hits your hand from less than a yard away, but it's not a penalty if the goalkeeper punches you in the head.
Yeah, thumps you in the back of the head. I mean,
that's just nonsense.
The replay we got of that it does my head in, chappers, I'll be honest with you. Like the way they apply that law in Europe, I mean, we're miles ahead of that in the Premier League in terms of the referee's understanding of proximity, speed of the ball, natural position of the arm and hand. All of those things were tick, tick, tick in terms of it not being a penalty, because you apply that logic, you know, it's just a bit of common sense into the picture, and the referee just hasn't done that, and he's not been great with me right from the start of the game. The fouls he's given, the bookings that he of the two players, he could just speak to them. It's not been a great first half from him.
And it came at the end of a period where Arsenal had dominated, really, or certainly taken control of the game.
Yeah, I agree. They settled into it, started to have more of the ball. Martinelli, who's been very bright, put 2 or 3 really good deliveries into the box with his right foot. Marino's been arriving in the box. They've loads of corners, more pressure, and Inter really were no threat whatsoever. It was going into half-time. Arsenal probably in the driving seat and in a good position. Now it's completely changed.
So the English team this evening behind to a penalty are Arsenal. They trail Inter by a 1-0 earlier this evening. Aston Villa, the other English team in action tonight, beaten by a penalty as well, and a bizarre one. Emi Martinez took a goal kick and Tyrone Mings picked the ball up. So the referee awarded a penalty. Bruges scored it. Here are the thoughts of Unai Emery.
It's completely strange, this mistake. It's the biggest mistake I made in my career as a coach. Because we can make a mistake in our build-up, but we accepted it and we are working to try to control of the games through keeping ball possession and trying to stop the opponent. We did the first half fantastic. We lost some 1 or 2 balls, but we were always in our positioning to recover again the position. But this mistake is really very strange. But it's not for Tyrone Mings. It's not for Emiliano Martinez. It's one mistake. It's strange. I think it's only happened one time in all my life today.
Yeah, Stephen Warner watched this as part of the Champions League highlight show later on BBC One. It was bizarre, wasn't it?
Very odd. I wondered at first whether he'd made that decision to pick it up because he felt like he was under pressure, and it was just because there was a player in the box as well. But when we look back on it, he didn't. The other reason I thought he might have picked the ball up was because he hadn't been looking at Emi Martinez and he didn't realise that he played the pass. And what you so often see at the moment is you see the centre-half taking the goal kick and then he passes it to the goalkeeper. So you just wondered whether that just a lapse of concentration. He'll be very disappointed tonight, Tyrone Mings.
When you watch Villa tonight, how do you judge Villa over the last 3 games? Because the 3 games have all been very different, whether that's a Champions League game, a Premier League game away at Tottenham, or a very changed team against Crystal Palace in the League Cup.
Yeah, I don't really judge them on the League Cup game because they had to make changes, or they felt they did. I think they made 9 changes on the night, which is a lot of changes to make. I think the disappointing thing was the second half against Tottenham. They just capitulated completely. 1 shot on target in that game, and then tonight really poor, really sloppy in the way that they played. A team that, and people will always say this is lazy, but they did look tired. It looks like that lack of rotation is hurting them at the moment.
Goals have dried up as well, haven't they?
Yeah, goals and opportunities created as well, trying to penetrate through the back line to make sure that you're creating opportunities. He tried a little bit different tonight to put John McGinn in behind Ollie Watkins. He tried Morgan Rogers out on that left-hand side. It didn't work, so he flipped that back, and then Morgan Rogers, who was potentially carrying an injury coming into the game, wasn't quite at his best, but it just seemed that Ollie Watkins was very isolated in the forward area.
Do you think he's quite sure what he's doing in the wide areas at the moment in Emery? So the Tottenham game, for example, you have McGinn one side and Ramsey the other, who essentially are through the middle players as well, aren't they? Leon Bailey doesn't seem that much in favour. Dialby was the wide men haven't really fired for Villa.
No, I think the Tottenham game in particular, he's probably gone for 2 central midfielders who are able to get back into position, defend. He knew that they'd be under a lot of pressure. I think the ideal balance is that you get one midfielder who can then outnumber a midfield, and then you get a wide player on the opposite flank. But one of the problems that with that is that you know that one player is your outlet ball, so for the opposition it's a little bit easier to defend against, but he's got to try and find a better balance at the moment. I think they lose a lot of sort of Matty Cash down that right hand side, being able to bomb forward. Ezri Konsa is a little bit more of a centre back, doesn't really want to come out of position too much, so the emphasis on today was a lot on Leon Bailey, and he's very much a confidence player.
Stephen, for the moment, thank you very much. You can see that bizarre Villa penalty incident on the iPlayer from 10 o'clock, the Champions League highlights tonight on BBC One. From 10 to 11, John Bennett has been across the other games this evening. Some interesting stories developing.
Yeah, Paris Saint-Germain 1, Atletico Madrid 1. We talked about this as the game between two teams who are underperforming so far in the Champions League compared to their standards. Atletico Madrid made a really sloppy start, Mark. Awful defending. Dembele won the ball back in the box. Clement Lenglet caught in possession, and Warren Zaire-Emery dinked it in. But then just 4 minutes later, against the run of play, Molina equalised for Atletico Madrid. Good finish after the ball ricocheted to him. But Atletico Madrid have lost their last 2 under a bit of pressure. I think they'll be delighted with this scoreline so far, 1-1.
What else? Barcelona leading at Red Star. They've been made to work, haven't they?
Yeah, Red Star Belgrade scored with their first opportunity to equalise. But they had some good moments in the game. All the talk about Barcelona's young players, it's 2 players in their 30s who have got the goals. Red Star Belgrade 1, Barcelona 2. Inigo Martinez with the opener, heading in a Rafinha ball. Rafinha is one of the star players in the Champions League this season. And Lewandowski just before half-time. Brest's amazing form in this competition continues. They'd be on 10 points as it stands. It's Sparta Prague 0, Brest 1. Feyenoord 0, Red Bull Salzburg 1. Red Bull Salzburg have been awful so far in the Champions League. That would be a huge result for them. Stuttgart 0, Atalanta 0. And Bayern Munich against Benfica was delayed 15 minutes due to travel disruption. And that is Bayern Munich 0, Benfica 0.
Thank you very much, Sean. Let's go around the games in the Championship. Half-time at Deepdale between Preston and Sunderland. Sandy Rajavajala.
Goalless, Sunderland are the leaders, but it's Preston who've been peppering them across the first 45. Aston Villa Loney, Kane, Kessler, Hayden missing a huge chance just 90 seconds in, 2 yards out. And North End bookended a half full of opportunity with Emil Rees's effort from the edge, stretching every sinew of Sunderland stopper Simon Moore. Macca's manager Reggie Slabry will be glad it's level. You can expect an improved showing in the second and maybe make North End regret those misses. Half-time, Sunderland 0, Preston 0.
A little earlier on we talked about Millwall's good form in general in the Championship, and it's continued this evening at home to Leeds. Aaron.
Absolutely, 57.5 minutes gone here at the Den. Millwall 1, Leeds United 0. The Lions still leading through a really good Jeffat Tanganga strike at the end of the first half, but Leeds have come out and they are trying to get themselves back into this game. Wilfred Gnonto planting a free header over the bar. Dan James has stung the palms of Lucas Jensen in between the Millwall sticks, but you just get the sense that Daniel Farke's side, they're a little bit concerned at the way that Millwall Millwall counter. They're very, very pacey. They've got the energy of Romain Esse, and Leeds just retreating back any time Millwall get themselves on the ball. Fascinating contest here, approaching the hour mark. Millwall 1, Leeds United 0.
Elsewhere in the Championship, half-time at Kenilworth Road, and it's goalless between Luton and Cardiff. Stoke have just taken the lead at Blackburn into the second half at Ewood Park, just shy of the hour. Amelia Manhurf has given them the lead, and it's Coventry 0, Derby 1. That was also a 7:45 kickoff. 2 games in the Scottish Women's Premier League. 5 minutes to go in the match between Celtic and Queen's Park, and the home side lead 5-0, and at half-time it's goalless between Aberdeen and Motherwell. Exactly 9 o'clock, you're listening to 5 Live. Lisa McCormick has your news.
The voice of the UK.
And the home of the Premier League.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Downing Street says that Sir Keir Starmer has spoken to Donald Trump to congratulate him on his victory in the US presidential election. He won both the popular vote and electoral college vote, and his Republican Party will have a majority in the Senate to back his plans. Warren Peterson is a Republican senator for Arizona.
The American citizens were sending a mandate to Washington, D.C. to say we are absolutely fed up with this out-of-control spending in Washington, D.C. We're fed up with out-of-control inflation and what's happening with the prices of everything. And they're fed up with what's happening at the border and crime, and they want it fixed, and they want it fixed quickly.
Donald Trump's Democratic rival, Kamala Harris, has spoken to him to concede and congratulate him. She's expected to make a public speech shortly, which we'll bring you more of here on 5 Live with Gordon Smart at 10. In other news, a GP who disguised himself as a community nurse to inject his mother's partner with poison, pretending it was a COVID jab, has been jailed for more than 31 years. 53-year-old Thomas Kwan admitted to the attempted murder of Patrick O'Hara after the first day of his trial at Newcastle Crown Court. Speaking outside the court, Mr O'Hara said he was glad the ordeal is over.
I'd like to thank the judge for their sentencing, and I think justice has been done today. And firstly, I'd like to thank the police and the prosecuting department for the absolute magnificent job in bringing this man to justice, and I can't thank him for their sincerity to my family in this whole trial and this year has went by.
The Prime Minister has tightened the rules on MPs accepting gifts and hospitality. Ministers will now be required to consider the need to maintain the public's confidence when deciding to do so. Sir Keir Starmer and other ministers have faced criticism for accepting gifts from wealthy donors. And police in Scotland are investigating the theft of 24 live lobsters from an underwater storage keep at a harbour in Arbroath. Officers say the creatures didn't stage a breakout and were definitely removed by human hands.
Weekend mornings on 5 Live. Saturdays from 9am.
Patrick Keelty.
Good morning, folks. There you are.
And at 11. Fighting Talk
with Rick Edwards.
It's the debates you have with your mates in the pub or the group chat, thrashed out furiously on national radio.
Sundays from 10.
Colin Murray.
Thank you so much for picking our little show to fill your morning and fill it well.
Weekend mornings
on BBC Radio 5 Live. This is 5 Live Sport.
The Champions League with Mark Chapman.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
Arsenal trail in the San Siro by a goal to nil. Second half commentary on the way. Before we head back, let's go to the third men's one-day international between the West Indies and England, and Phil Salt doing his best to impress the test selectors, Dan Norcross.
Well, he has actually. He's made a really good innings, but he's just got out for 74. So a truly stunning boundary catch. We get a bit blasé about these. Ball was whacked out over deep mid-wicket. A quite brilliant diving catch, two-handed by Brandon King. But as he was diving, he was going to go over the boundary line, so he had to pass it off. Alzari Joseph was there, about 4 or 5 yards away. He got it to him cleanly. It was a brilliant piece of athleticism, and it ended a really splendid partnership between Salt and Mosey. They added 70. Just as Salt and Curran had done earlier, to rescuing them from 24 for 4 to 164 for 6. You don't feel like it's enough with 9 overs to go. The pitch is easing a little bit, but they've given themselves a fighting chance. If they can get up to 230, 240, that could be just about defendable here. Jamie Overton's just joined Moseley. Moseley has 36. England 164 for 6 after 41.
BBC Sport website and app if you want to follow the cricket. Theo Walcott alongside me as we wait for Inter and Arsenal to come back out. Now they're behind, you worry about how they're going to break this Inter side down, given how strong they are defensively in the Champions League.
I mean, to be fair, watching the game, I've been pleased with the start of, Arsenal. You always expect Inter Milan to to come out the blocks, of course, and then they obviously started to frustrate them by keeping the ball and getting them running, and as well playing for set pieces, because in the Champions League you don't need to be playing pretty to get results, and it's not been really a very entertaining game. But as for trying to progress and to get a result, Arsenal doing the right things. I mean, I think they could have been a bit unlucky with the penalties, to be honest.
At either end?
Well, I do feel like Moreno, his hand's in a position where you never really can get away with that, particularly with VAR these days, to be honest. It's one of those, if there's no VAR, you probably get away with that. But again, it's just the question of you can punch someone in the head and not get a penalty. Just besides me, because if that's a forward or any other player that's committing a foul on a goalkeeper's a little bit more protected. But look, that's just my opinion, but it's one of those where Arsenal do need to show a different side of them if they want to try and get a result. But look, like I say, I don't think both teams have cancelled each other out.
Yeah,
I think it's been that sort of game, and I feel like Arsenal will get a result in the end, but I feel it's likely to be a draw.
But Inter can now frustrate even more if they want to. That's the point, though, isn't it? Really.
It is, but you're going to allow pressure for Arsenal to do what they're good at, is to, been giving the ball out to Martinelli quite frequently, and he's been getting a lot of interesting balls into the area, but of course then off the back of that they're getting the set pieces, and we all know how dangerous Arsenal are on that. So look, Inter Milan can't be too negative in this way. They need to start like they did, but look, it's one of those where I feel like it's going to be a bit of a stalemate sort of fixture right now going into the second half.
Theo, thank you very much. Let's head back to the San Siro. By the way, the half-time whistle has gone at the Allianz Arena. Bayern 0, Benfica 0 after that first 45 minutes. I think Arsenal may be making substitutions. Here's John Murray.
Yeah, a change for Arsenal, having fallen behind right at the end of the first half, and it's Mikel Merino, the unfortunate Mikel Merino, who is involved in the incident in both penalty areas. Mikel Merino, who is taken off at the break, and Gabriel Jesus comes on for what is his 50th appearance in the Champions League, and so a little bit of a rejig, Matthew Upson, as Inter get us underway in the second half.
Yeah, and it looks to be Havertz dropping into the midfield area. See, UEFA were right.
UEFA have got it right in the end.
It was spot on with
their formation.
And Gabriel Jesus taking the centre forward role with Trossard off him, and I think from what I can tell from the start of this half, Havertz will just drop in a little bit deeper with Thomas Partey.
So Inter 1, Arsenal 0, and Inter, as they started the match with goalkeeper Sommer, as Arsenal come forward with Havertz just outside the area, he's able to prod it to Martinelli, who shoots from an angle into the outside netting, and even though he had half an appeal for a corner there, the referee was having none of that, and was as decisive about that as he was of the award of the penalty at the end of the first half.
Yeah, he was very sure about that, wasn't he? The start's been good from Arsenal. The second half very bright just there, and there's so much to play for here. I mean, yes, there's a disappointment of going behind, but this team has got so much to offer. It's got so much energy going forwards as well. Martinelli and Saka wide, I think they're key in this game for me. If they can get them isolated, get them working at the wide centre backs or in that wing back position, I think they've got a chance of creating something.
And what did you make of what Theo Walcott had to say at half-time about the Arsenal shout for a penalty? We've had another look at it at half-time when Sommer comes out and punches the ball and punches Merino as well.
He does punch him in the back of the head. I mean, it's difficult. Merino's kind of backpedaling a little bit, and Sommer's coming onto the ball. He can see everything. Merino probably gets there first, I would say, and then there is some kind of glancing touch off of the goalkeeper, and now I think that touch just makes it harder for it to be a penalty.
Well, this is going to be tough for Arsenal now from this position, 1-0 down, and free kick hit long into the edge of the penalty area, where Bissek just volleyed it out of play for a throw into Arsenal down the left that Timber is taking, level with the edge of the penalty area, takes the throw, and again it comes off the head of an Inter defender, and Dumfries stretching for it, heads it, and it bounces out of play just to the right of the corner flag as we look at it. So after 7 corners in the first half, here's the first of the second, but Inter have defended them really, really well.
Yeah, they have done, and that is a real strength of Inter, and they're going to need to, because Arsenal do deliver many games a masterclass of corner organisation and delivery.
Down in that corner where there's a huge blue square behind, as Arsenal take the corner from the left-hand side, which is taken in by Martinelli, but it's over everyone inside the box. I think it might have just got a glance off the head of Saliba. Just mistimed it really, and it just glanced off him through and behind for a goal kick on the other side.
He was free to get contact, but he just misread the flight, Saliba, and his reaction after, he's kind of patting himself on the head as if to say, what am I doing? Why didn't I just make better contact with the ball? He had time to.
Solmar took a touch there inside the penalty area with Gabriel Jesus, was in on the Inter goalkeeper, and that is given as a free kick.
That was a big chance, that header. It was a big chance, and Saliba knows it. It was, worked perfectly. All the players had gone to the near post. They'd drawn the Inter defenders underneath the ball, and he was backpedaling for a free header and just didn't judge it properly.
And now as Inter trying to play it out from the back, Saka puts in a challenge on Bissek, who miscontrolled it, but Saka has fouled him. And Saka's just feeling his lower right leg there, but he's helped to his feet by Trossard. Inter take the free kick, but the referee says, I think possibly the ball was moving, or was it taken in the wrong place?
No, the ball was moving. It was the assistant that wanted to pull it back for. Let's say it was moving. It was practically still. It might have just had a tiny roll left on it, but this is pretty much how this game has been officiated. To be honest, it's been very jarry and stop-start.
So a free kick for Inter. Of course, that benefits Inter to take the free kick. There breaks up the game, slows down the game. That's not what Arsenal want. And as it's hit long and forward, it's played out by White for a throw-in to Inter down the left-hand side. Champions League action live from Milan, inside the Giuseppe Meazza here on a coolish evening, murky evening, very often murky in Milan at this time of the year. Darmian is going to take the throw from the left. He's got a bit of wind-up in this one. The former Manchester United man takes the throw, but actually was headed away by Saka, and the referee...
It's no Tom Tonks, is it?
It's no Tommy Tonks. Hello, Tommy Tonks, if you're listening tonight. You covered that match the other night, didn't you? And we're taken with
the biggest long throw I've ever seen. And I played with Rory Delap, and he could take a throw in, but
Tom Tonks virtually threw it in the net
from the dugout.
Inter taking the ball out from the back, and then Çalhanoğlu, who scored the goal. First time pass forward from Martinez. Dumfries across, it just took a touch off the foot of Timber, which helped Arsenal because that deflected it through to Raya to pick up.
Well, it's been a game of few moments of world-class quality in terms of passing and technique and creativity, but that one-touch pass there from Martinez was, for me, the pass of the game. Lovely weight, first time comes into him, sees the gap between the centre-backs and fed it through in behind, lovely.
Inter continuing to lead by 1-0. That Çalhanoğlu penalty just rolled it down the middle, didn't he, as David Raya dived to his left as Saka plays it infield towards Saliba. In the Champions League, Atalanta are winning 1-0 in Germany. Ademola Lookman has scored again. What a time he's having there. Atalanta. I was reminded last night of the time when Pep Guardiola said that playing against Atalanta is like a trip to the dentist. Here's Gabriel now to the left-hand side, played in towards the corner of the box, where Havertz gives it back to Martinelli, and then forward towards the edge of the area, but Pavard was in position there. They've got a job on here, Arsenal, to break down this Inter team, as Inter themselves look for a possibility of a second, but Martinez's pass forward found the on-rushing Fratesi in an offside position, and Arsenal, in any case, were able to deal with it.
Yeah, Arsenal again looking relatively comfortable. It's been a good start to the second half. Very similar in terms of the feel, the caginess. Both teams really just sitting back, nobody really going for it yet. But Arsenal will have to just open up a little bit more as this game goes on.
Matthew Upson, former Arsenal and England defender, here with us in northern Italy. And then Arsenal with the ball on the edge of the area. Another little foul, this time on Çalhanoğlu. And that's a free kick. just a little tap at his ankles by Saka.
It's not a foul, is it?
Goes down, wins the free kick.
I mean, Saka's making that point to the referee, and you don't see him that often.
Matt, you played
those conversations.
You played in European matches. This is one of those matches. You go away in Europe, and it's an exercise in frustration.
Yes.
And you've got to manage it. You've got to work a way around it. Deal with it.
Absolutely have. You've got to accept it. You've got to manage restraint. Really be clever with what you're doing. And you've got to rise above it, to be honest, and I think that is the challenge for Arsenal now.
Important goal for Luton. They're winning 1-0 against Cardiff. Jacob Brown informed Cardiff under Omar Reza, and Barcelona are now 3-1 up against Red Star Belgrade as Inter, playing the ball out of the back, win another free kick. This time it's Ben White who is adjudged to have fouled Zielinski, and it's a free kick to Inter on in their own left-back position. And incidentally, Lewandowski, who scored 2 goals tonight with that latest one for Barcelona, that means he's now got 99 goals in the Champions League. He's 3rd on the list of all-time scorers in both the European Cup and the Champions League, so one more to bring up the century. You'll be able to work out for yourselves who are number 1 and 2 in that list. Inter 1, Arsenal 0. 5 Live and BBC Sounds, Red Button night as well. Champions League final score in operation, so you can listen to the commentary alongside the video printer and the graphics and the analysis on the Red Button, the iPlayer, BBC Sport website and app. Just click on Champions League final score, and the highlights on Match of the Day later tonight after the extended news. Gordon Smart, by the way, will be taking over on 5 Live at 10 o'clock with a roundup, full coverage of the momentous events of the day. Darmian taking a throw-in for Inter back to the halfway line. So we'll wrap everything up, and it'll be on the Football Daily podcast in the morning. Here's Bissek just taking the ball from left to right, the German under-21 international. Comes back to De Vrij, who sends a long ball forward for Dumfries to chase, and then that's a free kick Arsenal's way for his challenge there. Dumfries on Timber.
He was clever there, Timber, because he was in trouble, and he just put the brakes on, waited for the contact and went down, and the assistant referee really bought it and gave the foul.
White and Saka trying to combine. Good work from Zielinski to win the ball back. Awkward bouncing ball for Arsenal, but Saliba clears it away. These sides separated by just that controversial penalty before half-time. Here's Saka now, released by Gabriel Jesus. Saka into the area, right-footed ball, what a cross that is, but brilliantly defended by, I think it was Dumfries. There were 2 men in there for Inter, as well as the 2 Arsenal men, and Dumfries got his head back to it, facing his own penalty area. Still Arsenal though, on the left-hand side. Here's the cross, left-footed. Saka at the back post, got his head to it, but it drops into the gloves of Sommer almost on the goal line, who was then buffeted by Jesus, but holds the ball.
Yeah, it was a cracking cross from Saka with his right foot this time. Really wraps his foot around it and fizzes it. Lovely height across that 6-yard box line. I'm not sure if it was Pavard or Dumfries that got the little glancing header just to flick the ball away of danger, but much better from Arsenal. Gabriel Jesus really influential in that build-up as well. Held the ball up and got the ball wide to Saka, and then got himself in the box.
So 1-0, Inter continue to lead. And once it gets to 10 o'clock, after 10 o'clock, now this season, new for this season, all of the Champions League mid-week highlights, you'll be able to take your pick and watch them on the iPlayer. Saka down the right, his right-footed ball into the 6-yard box is cleared away by De Vrij, who's actually annoyed with himself because he's conceded yet another corner. And this one will be taken by Saka. This is down to our right, the Arsenal fans, way up in the top tier. This has been a popular trip. They've come in their thousands here. They've got all of their various banners and flags. You can see one big red flag with the Arsenal cannon on it over towards that far side at the top, way up underneath the roof of the stadium. Corner then for Saka to take this. He's got himself organised. Arsenal as well, same routine. Those 4 men break into the box, delivery to the near post. It's come off a defender's head and it's blocked by Dumfries on the line. He was at the back post. The the man on the post was in position to clear it away.
Well, that's all it was lacking, that set piece, was a player arriving in that back post area. I mean, it's the most common place you're going to score a goal. Any kind of goal poacher will tell you that you pick up that back post position and something drops every now and then, and that was perfect for them. Unfortunately, all the players have made the run to the near post. It was a fantastic delivery, really good competitive jumps for the ball, glancing header to the back post, just no one there to tap it in.
Another goal for Barcelona, who are now winning 4-1 away against Red Star Belgrade, and it's Rafinha, the informed Rafinha, who scored the latest one. Red Bull Salzburg are now 2-0 up at Feyenoord, so heading for their first point of this Champions League group stage. Karim Konate for them. And Derby County now 2-0 up at Coventry. Bobby Thomas with the second goal for Derby. Here come Arsenal, 1-0 down. Havertz into the area, curls it in, and Sommer had to be sharp there. Gabriel Jesus was lurking, but Sommer, moving away to his right, just clawed it beyond the far post for a corner.
Well, I'm not sure if that was a cross or a shot. I mean, it ended up being a shot because that was curling into the far post and very nearly caught Sommer out. This is good stuff from Arsenal. They've really upped their game a little bit, much more progressive, really on top of Inter at the moment.
Yeah, they are threatening now, genuinely, as they have to. Inter still yet to concede a goal in this competition this season. They've never kept 4 consecutive clean sheets in the Champions League, this club with its great European history. In comes the corner. Saliba was looking for it. Inter header away, then cleared away by Bissac. Comes out for the shot just inside the box from Gabriel. That was blocked by an Inter defender. They've got all of the bodies in there. Trossard now, the Belgian, 25 yards out, turns, gives it back to Gabriel Jesus on the right-hand side. Gabriel Jesus, then back to Saka, left-footed ball in towards the penalty spot. Havertz plays it back out of the area to Trossard, now to the left-hand side to Martinelli. Martinelli trying to weave something, he's got Timber there to help. Timber's right-footed cross, chested back, Partey now to Jesus. Jesus onto his left foot, shoots, that's blocked by an Inter leg. Then Partey inside the area, so congested in there. Jesus now, he's been challenged by Lautaro Martinez and throws himself to the ground, and the referee does not give the free kick. And then Partey has tripped Zielinski. That's a free kick to Inter.
Well, I don't quite know what to say about that, to be honest. I mean, Martinez, he gets way too tight in the corner on Jesus. He's all over him. OK, Gabriel Jesus might just put the brakes on and draw the contact, but it's certainly a foul. And then the tiny little nick from Partey on the leg of Zielinski, and he gives a foul. I mean, it's been very much that kind of frustrating game for Arsenal, but they've got to keep plugging away. They're really on top of it at the moment. They're deserving something out of this game. They have to stick at it.
With an hour gone, Simone Inzaghi's making a triple substitution. And this has to be with the top of the table match against Napoli here at the weekend in mind on Sunday night. So Zielinski and Fratesi have been withdrawn from the midfield, and the captain Lautaro Martinez, he's off as well. So Marcus Thuram comes on for him, and it's Nicolo Barella into the midfield, the Italian who was part of that squad that won the Euros at Wembley, and also the former Arsenal man, another veteran, Henrik Mkhitaryan, the 35-year-old Armenian as he is now, has come on into the midfield as well, the number 22. So changes that I'm sure were planned. And Arsenal, and obviously as well, trying to lift Inter in this match at a time when Arsenal have had a good spell, Matt.
Yes, they need it, because at the moment they're just hanging on in this game. I mean, they're so resilient defensively. They're getting away with certain things. That little passage of play there with Arsenal, the ball could have easily dropped to somebody to score, or a ricochet land at an Arsenal player's feet. They haven't had that luck yet this evening, Arsenal, but Inter certainly are on the back foot. So that freshening up of 3 players, and let's face it, they're not bad players to come on, are they?
Yeah, there's a bit of talent there, isn't there? Yeah. Thuram, Barella, Mkhitaryan.
Yeah.
And Arsenal now have to dig deep here. The ball is on the touchline, way down below us. Mikel Arteta was on the side of the pitch, and he's got involved in that, Arteta, and it's a yellow card for the Arsenal manager. Darmian was there. As I say, the action was right in front of Mikel Arteta. He's apologising now to the referee, but
the ref's laughing. He literally grabbed the ball, and I don't think it had quite gone out of play.
You can't do that.
No, he couldn't help himself. You know, like one of those reactions where it's in front of you, because the technical area line is literally 2 yards from the touchline, isn't it? You're so close. The managers are so close to nearly being on the pitch that he just wanted to get the ball and put it back into play quickly, but it hadn't actually gone out of play yet.
And now there's a bit of a fuss going on between the assistant.
What is the restart there then? Is it a free kick?
Well, for handball? By the manager.
Yeah, what is that? It's a
that
free
is
kick.
a very good question.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's been given. They've come up with a free kick, which Bissek took on the wrong blade of grass. So the assistant got him to take it on the right blade. I mean, this is for the Arsenal fans up there in the stands. They must be pulling their hair out. Yeah. This is a really, really frustrating experience, and they'll feel that the award of the penalty was very, very harsh for the handball. Marino just simply couldn't get out of the way of it, and because of that, it's Inter who lead by 1-0. And we have 25 minutes to play. Arsenal with Ben White going back infield to Partey. We'll pass it into the back line to Gabriel, and now Timber. And Havertz has appeared over there on the far side, on the left-hand side, almost on the left wing. He's got the roving role now, Kai Havertz, having dropped back. And that's a lovely pass forward from Ben White for Saka, down the right. He's up against Bissek, taking it into the penalty area now, but crossing into the legs of the central defender. It's behind yet another corner.
Yeah, he just kind of resigned himself to winning a corner almost there, Saka. He's trying to get the half a yard to get the crossing past Bissek, who's defended pretty well against him this evening, and he just ends up resigning himself to, I'll just cross it with my right foot, it's going to ricochet off him, but we're going to win a corner, and that at the moment is Arsenal's best chance of getting a goal.
Goal back for Coventry. Sakamoto has scored. Coventry 1, Derby 2. Corner then again for Arsenal. Inter once more prepared to defend their way out of this. Saka into the near post, but that's headed away comfortably, very straightforwardly. And then Saka plays it in again. That's headed away on the edge of the box for Inter. White heads it back to the edge of the Inter penalty area. That's nodded down in a way, but it's given back to the red and white of Arsenal. Trossard's pass forward, Çalhanoğlu's step forward, he was able to clear it away. Taremi's involved as well. Çalhanoğlu now turning and going back towards the edge of his own penalty area, in fact running it all the way into the box and drawing Timber towards him. Gives possession back to Arsenal. Partey gets it down. Partey's in danger of losing it. Excellent work though by the Ghanaian to keep possession under severe pressure from Thuram and Taremi. Now it's to Saka on the right-hand side. Saka up against Bissek. Darmian's there as well. Saka plays it in between the two of them, and then down goes Havertz against Barella, who's taken the captain's armband since he's come onto the field. And Martinez went off, and he's able to clear, and in the end it's Bissek who wins a throw-in deep inside his own half in the left-back area. So 1-0 Inter continue to lead. What is the latest in the Millwall-Leeds match? Millwall still on course for another 1-0, Aaron Paul?
Yeah, potentially. They were desperately close to a second just now, John. Jay Cooper with another fabulous header across goal. Femi Aziz got his head onto it at the back post, but his effort crashing against the post and bouncing away, thankfully, for Ilya Melia and Leeds United, who are still looking for an equaliser. Millwall 1, Leeds 0.
In the 5 championship matches you've heard about Millwall, there's just a little bit of a flare-up centre field, the frustration, the temper's boiling over, and it's a free kick that's been given Arsenal's way, and Barella was hanging on to the ball. He's been shown a yellow card, and so is Gabriel Jesus.
Yeah, he likes booking people in pairs, doesn't he, the referee? And Yes, I'd say Jesus is a little bit over-eager. He's hyped up and he's annoyed. Like I think a lot of the Arsenal players are. They just want to get the game moving. Inter now are starting to be clever, and Barella's just holding on to the ball. After he tried to win a foul, it wasn't a foul. He grabbed hold of the ball with his hands for handball. The referee didn't give it, and then the kerfuffle happened after. But Gabriel Jesus showing that he just wants to get cracking with this game. He wants the tempo to be raised by Arsenal.
Inter still have a narrow lead, but Arsenal coming forward again. Saka's pass in field. In comes the challenge from Çalhanoğlu. It's kept in on the halfway line. Partey and just taps it across to Saliba. Yeah, in the Championship, Blackburn 0, Stoke 1, Coventry 1, Derby 2, Millwall 1, Leeds 0, Luton 1, Cardiff 0 are all latest scores. We'll go to Preston in a moment, where it was 0-0 last we heard, the match involving the leader, Sunderland. In fact, let's do that now, because Inter have got themselves another free kick inside their own half. Sani Rodravagela.
Well, it's still goalless, but it is getting very stretched. Sunderland now have Wilton Isidore playing in the middle. He's looking for a 5th goal of the season, but Preston have been holding them and actually looking the stronger side. 73 gone, Preston 0, Sunderland 0.
Inter lost possession. Arsenal attack, cross from the left for Saka, but Inter were able to block his progress, and now Thuram is onto the loose ball in the central third. This could open up for Inter. Thuram, tall, carrying the ball forward, but dwelt on the ball, and Martinelli just came across, said thanks very much, and nipped it away from him. And now Arsenal might be able to counter-attack down the left-hand side with Martinelli still going as Çalhanoğlu's. I think he was off the field.
What is he doing?
Was he off the field?
Oh, honestly, he's laying there. He was just laying on the floor like he'd been hurt, and then realised nobody was caring, so decided to get up, and now he's running around.
Saka trying to find a way through between two Inter players, and in the end it's a foul on Darmian and a free kick to Inter, and I think Mikel Arteta might have said he's either strayed out of his technical area or he said something. I think it might be a technical area issue, or whatever it is. It's something that's not been done to the letter of the law, and it's a free kick to Inter, who lead 1-0. Matt, we're just going to get an update on I presume the England innings is finished now in the third one-day international. Daniel Norcross?
Not quite, no. It's still about 3.5 overs to go. Dan Mosley, though, has just got out, caught the boundary. The slog is on. He's gone for 57. It was a really well-made innings. Intelligent, highly mature. He's got JB Overton for company at the other end on 18, but England don't feel like they've got enough. 207 for 7 with another 23 balls to go.
OK, thanks, Dan, who will continue to update you during the course of 5 Live Sport, and also I would imagine it the Gordon Smarts programme after 10 o'clock. The Albanian international Christian Aslani, who's had an ankle injury recently, he's come back onto the field, the 22-year-old, and Çalhanoğlu, the goal scorer, has come off, so whatever the problem that he had, as Barella now plays it forward for Inter, comes back to Barella just outside the D, playing it to the right. Dumfries with the shot arriving onto it, went for the spectacular volley, but got it wrong and hit it well wide of the near post.
That's a good opportunity, actually. It just needs to go a little bit cooler on the finish. It was looped up in the air, like passed over to that far hand side, over by Timber, and he hits it first time with his right foot on the volley, but he just snatches at it a little bit, not relaxed, and just kind of shanks the ball into the ground wide of the near post.
And I would imagine Çalhanoğlu as well, he will be wanted for that match here against Napoli, who rather surprisingly lost to Atalanta on Sunday afternoon.
They haven't had to do a lot to be 1-0 up in this game, Inter, have they? It's been a real grindy performance, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. It's not been pretty at all, as Martinelli is now just tumbled over. Free kick to Arsenal on the halfway line.
I mean, they're doing everything they can to slow the game down, break it up, take ages bringing the ball back. When they go on the floor, they're now 5-10 seconds laying on the floor if there's a foul.
If they're able to get a point, if they're able to find something, get the goal, get the equaliser and get a point, this would be an excellent result in these circumstances against these opponents.
Do you know what? It would show real mental resilience if Arsenal were to come out of this with a point. If they were to get a goal and go home 1-1, it would be a brilliant showing from this team at the moment.
They've won a corner. Martinelli's won another corner off Dumfries, and they've had a little word, and it's Trossard who's going to take it from the far side. Just wonder whether it's worth varying it. It's the same routine again for Arsenal, and actually that might be what they're doing here. Saliba is chatting at the back post with Partey and with White and with Havertz, and here is the Trossard corner then. Driven into the near post, attempted flick off Havertz, who made the run there, but it came off the Arsenal man straight behind. Whatever it was they were trying, it didn't work. Well, kick into.
The delivery was all wrong, wasn't it? Trossard doesn't get enough height on the ball. Havertz coming to the near post for a flick on, and delivery was poor, and now they're taking an eternity to take this goal kick.
Of course they are. More commentary tomorrow night, by the way. The England squad announcement tomorrow afternoon, 2 o'clock. We'll have that for you on 5 Live. Both England matches, Greece, Republic of Ireland. 5 Live, the place to listen to them tomorrow night. Manchester United, PAOK, but all of the matches involving the British and the Irish clubs, you'll hear them covered tomorrow night, and then lots more Premier League commentary Saturday and Sunday, as will continue to be the case for the next 4 seasons after this as well, after the Premier League rights deal was sorted out this week. Here come Arsenal down the left-hand side. Martinelli with Timber, back to Timber, and the Dutchman works it all the way across, but Bissek was there, coming across the left-sided central defensive position to pass it out for a throw.
Great play from Timber, really energetic down the left, and Bissek reads it so well, comes across, releases himself and deals with it.
Ball driven in, Havertz with a chance, shoots, it's deflected off Bissek wide. Well, the Inter defender did exceptionally well there, but that was a big chance for Havertz. Great control, actually. Shot on the turn, but Bissek was in the right place at the right time.
Well, that's the moment, isn't it? Drops to Havertz. He's got a little bit of time to get a good strike off with his left foot. He doesn't hit it particularly cleanly, and like you said, that is some block. Bissek throws himself in front of it, puts his left leg up, and the ball just deflects off him out for a corner.
Inter have not had a corner. Arsenal had 7 in the first half. This is their 6th of the second period. Saka waits to take this, and there's a false start. Back he goes again. Saka just off the pitch, and now takes it in teasingly to the near post, where it's headed down. He's looking for Partey at the near post, but it's headed by Inter back to Saka, still in the full-back position. Trossard puts his foot on the ball. Trossard then flicks it to Saka, just gets there with his left foot, but into the area, it's headed away safely for Inter, who then win a free kick, fouled by Saliba on Taremi. And the full-time whistle has gone at the Den. Have they won 1-0 again? Aaron Paul?
They have. Millwall 1, Leeds 0. A vintage Millwall display, hands them a 4th straight 1-0 win. The game's only goal, a quality finish from defender Japhet Tanganga. Millwall move into 5th, and status quo booms around this concrete jungle. Millwall 1, Leeds 0.
And Leeds losing for the first time in 9 matches. Stoke are now 2-0 up at Ewood Park against Blackburn, and Tom Cannon has scored his 7th goal of the season as ball was played forward for Inter, but Arsenal have it back. Partey to the right-hand side, and Brest winning 2-0 at Sparta Prague now as their Champions League adventure continues. The French side, here's White back to Saliba. Time running out for Arsenal. We're into the last 15 minutes now, Matt. Comes back to Saliba, who will go all the way over there to the left-hand side, where Timber gets the ball under control, looks for Martinelli, whose heels are almost on the white line, up against Dumfries again, then back to Timber just outside the penalty area, works it back to Martinelli. Lots of Arsenal shirts inside the area. Martinelli trying to find one of them. In comes the cross, that's headed away at the back post by Darmian, and then Darmian is in position again to clear it away to the halfway line, hooked forward. Arsenal, it's all Arsenal possession now inside the Inter half, but it's the Italian champions who have the lead. The side that has won 7 of their last 8 matches, lost only once this season in all competitions, and that was here in the Milan derby. Throw in for White, halfway inside the Inter half. I mean, they're not battering at the door, but they are tapping away at it.
Yeah, no, it's been real sustained, controlled pressure, hasn't it? And I've just been, you scratch your head to think, if Inter walk away with a win here, I said a moment ago, they've done very little to have to achieve that in terms of create anything, and in this second half they've just been dominated in the second half by Arsenal.
Yeah, but the back door has been very secure for Inter in the classic Italian side, the classic Inter side. It was when they won the European Cup for the first time, won it twice in consecutive seasons, in 1964 and 1965, when one of the greats of coaching, Helenio Herrera, was in charge here. He came up with the idea of Catenaccio, the ultra-defensive security style of play. And this Inter side here are defending so well now in 2024. And they're going to make what is their final change, Inter. And the excellent Federico Di Marco, the bleach blonde-haired wing-back, has come on to replace Taremi, the man who won the penalty, although I don't think he knew a great deal about it. I think that's quite generous to say.
Him a lot of credit.
To say him a lot of credit. So he's off anyway, Taremi, and Di Marco is on. 1-0 to Inter, 1-0 to Simone Inzaghi's side. Standing, watching, with his arms crossed, brother of the great Filippo, who is, by the way, Matt, Filippo Inzaghi is the coach of Pisa, who are top of Serie B. So one brother coaches the Italian champions, the other brother top of the second division. Here's Saka.
He was a good player,
wasn't he? Just. Here's Trossard turning, giving it back to Saka. Certainly Arsenal have not given up hope here, and I've just seen Ethan Nwaneri getting himself ready. Now Jesus on the right. Jesus swings it into the back post. A diving Dumfries is able to head that away. Then Barella with a flick as Inter look to clear. Thuram, though, will turn it all the way back to Sommer. They're not going to overcommit themselves.
No, it's another really good opportunity created by Arsenal, though. Great cross in.
Short pass out by Sommer to Barella, and he's been dispossessed. And now Arsenal might have a chance, but De Vrij in position to head it back towards the far side after the cross came in from Timber. And that was careless from Inter, but they've got away with it.
They didn't really, like I say, they're not committing forward at all. They've just gone into, they've been in protection mode almost the whole of the second half, to be honest. But at the moment, there's no one up the pitch at all. They're just clearing the ball, giving it back to Arsenal, and sitting there in a big defensive unit, 5 across the back. It's almost like two banks of 5, to be honest, the way they're setting up.
Yeah, and I mean, Taremi's gone off and Di Marco's come on, so he's another defender, really, as Arsenal swing it in from the left-hand side. Jesus for the challenge, but De Vrij stretches for it, gets his foot to it, clears it to Saka. It's going to be a double change for Arsenal. Zinchenko is going to come on as well. Here's Saka, left-footed ball in. This one's headed away by Bisek, only to Trossard. Trossard then, with his back to the penalty area, to Gabriel. Martinelli on the stretch. In comes Dumfries to get a touch on that, to knock it out of play for a throw-in. I think we will see the changes now. Arsenal, who've got Chelsea on Sunday. You'll hear that on 5 Live. Chelsea, Arsenal on Sunday. Manchester United, Leicester as well. Saturday, Wolves, Southampton, the big match at 3. Brighton, Manchester City at 5:30. All of those 5 Live commentaries. And England, Australia will be on Sports Extra from Twickenham. Right, Trossard coming off, Zinchenko coming on. And who's the other Arsenal player who came off?
Looks like Timber
behind the goal. Yeah, so it's a straight swap. Zinchenko coming on for him, and Nwaneri is going to come on. Ethan Nwaneri making his Champions League debut, the 17-year-old here in this great place.
Wow.
The Giuseppe Meazza. That's a memory to last a lifetime, particularly if he's able to play a part in Arsenal getting something. And here he is, the number 53 in possession, the Londoner Ethan Nwaneri, who has scored goals this season in the Carabao Cup, but this, with all due respect, is now the big stage, or the biggest stage, let's say. Comes back to Saliba now here to Saka on the right. Saka drifting in field. Di Marco comes across, still with his left foot. Bukayo Saka now closer to the centre circle, with the clock now ticking into the 83rd minute here, and Inter still leading through that Çalhanoğlu penalty, controversial award of a penalty just before half-time. Gabriel to Martinelli. Martinelli now. Martinelli is closed down by Dumfries. In comes the cross for Arsenal. De Vrij is there ahead of Havertz. Headed forward again for Arsenal by Partey. Groans from the home supporters in the stands here as Inter are unable to keep possession.
I mean, there hasn't been much unrest, has there, from the home fans, even though there hasn't been much of a showing from Inter in this second half at all. I mean, they're not even attempting to get up the pitch and create any chances. The crowd have been very patient.
Zinchenko, the newly arrived Zinchenko, he plays the ball into the penalty area. That's cleared away on the edge of the box for Inter. More goals in the Champions League. Feyenoord have got a goal back against Salzburg. What's happened here? Thuram,
just another
foul by Saliba.
I don't think it's a foul.
Feyenoord 1, Salzburg 2 now with that goal back from Musa, and Bayern Munich are in the lead against Benfica. Musiala scoring for Bayern Munich, Matt.
Yeah, no, another foul. Thuram going absolutely nowhere. All he wants to do is win a foul. So his only out is to win this foul, and he waits till Saliba gets close to him. There's a tiny bit of contact, and he's down on the floor, and the referee's steaming over, blowing his whistle and foul. And it's been very much that game, the frustration that, how difficult this has been for Arsenal to manage. I mean, they've done a pretty good job of it, I have to say, so far, but it is quite annoying.
Certainly is for Arsenal. Inter 1-0 up. Red Star Belgrade 2, Barcelona 5 is now the latest score there. It has finished Coventry 1, Derby 2, and also Blackburn 0, Stoke 2. Those are final scores in the 7:45s. Still Luton 1, Cardiff 0, and Preston 0, Sunderland 0. Arsenal trying to break down Inter. Zinchenko, but now just over 5 minutes to play here, and the home crowd, this fervent set of Inter supporters in the steeply banked stands, are trying to see their team through here. Partey for Arsenal. Partey goes on a little wander, then gives it square to Gabriel. Zinchenko available to the left-hand side. Zinchenko turns, passes it to the feet of Martinelli. Martinelli passes it beyond Dumfries. Zinchenko on the chase, but it is Aslani who puts in the challenge, and the ball bounces out of play off the Arsenal man in the end for a throw into Inter down in their own right-back area. And all of the Inter players, the defenders, applaud the effort of Dumfries to win that throw-in for his team.
He just couldn't quite get the space, Zinchenko, to get the cross in. He was trying to manoeuvre it over on that far side, but there was no opening for him to cross the ball, and he had to turn out in the end. And then Dumfries is in the pole position then, because he's showing him towards the corner flag, and then he wins the throw-in as well.
Throw-in taken by Inter. Arsenal have got them penned back in there though. Nwaneri jumps for the ball just outside the D. Arsenal supporters getting a message telling them they'll be have to wait inside the stadium here at the end of the match, and it is turning cold. Nwaneri now to Zinchenko to Martinelli. Martinelli right-footed cross, but there in the middle Pavard is there to jump high and head it back out towards the far side.
They've headed everything out of the box, haven't they? You have to say the three centre-backs from Inter, very measured. They never split too far open. They're so close to each other that they defend the heart of that 18-yard box brilliantly.
Arsenal coming again, Havertz on the right-hand side. Atalanta now 2-0 up at Stuttgart. Here's Saka. The camera lights, the phone lights have gone on in the ground. Saka clips the ball across, took a deflection, bounces down. Havertz with a shot on the turn, but the whistle had already gone for the foul near the penalty spot. Free kick for Inter. More frustration for Arsenal after the Havertz challenge on Aslani.
Yeah, I'm not sure he gave the foul actually. I think he waved him up, John. He ran over to him and just waved him up, and he's given a goal kick for the shot from Havertz that went wide.
I think you are right.
Yeah, he gave a goal kick.
Which is strange, because he's been giving free kicks for challenges like that all night, but he didn't give that one. So 5 Live from the BBC, live here in Milan, on what looks like it could be another setback for Arsenal here. Be their first defeat in the Champions League this season, but it's not over yet. 2.5 minutes of the 90 to play, and they certainly haven't given this up. White, then field towards Nwaneri, then back towards the halfway line in the centre circle. Partey rolls the pass out towards Zinchenko, comes back in towards the tall Gabriel. All of the corners that Arsenal have had, 7 in the first half, 6 in the second. It's the Dumfries clearance off the line, but I mean, it's been defended superbly, and it's like being off the training ground, isn't it? Here's Zinchenko out to Martinelli on the left hand side. Dumfries is there, and Barella. Zinchenko swings it in, it's half-headed out to the edge of the area. Gabriel shoots on the turn, but straight into Bissek, who celebrates his own block again.
You know, you generally feel like the crowd really do celebrate that kind of resilience as well, don't they? Like they enjoy it, the feeling that you're under siege and you're defending for your life.
Well, like I say, it's in the DNA, if I'm going to use that phrase, of this club, going all the way back to those days in the 60s that I was talking about. Here's Saka on the right hand side for Arsenal, trying to weave his way past Darmian, who just got a foot in on that. Comes back to Saliba though. Saliba, here's the cross all the way right there, bounces across for Martinelli. He's got Barella closest to Martinelli's ball in. Havertz with a header, bounces down on the edge of the 6-yard box, but yet again there's someone there. It was Pavard this time, who was able to scoop it away with his right foot. Then in, left-footed by Saka to the back post. That one is also headed away. Again, it was Pavard who was there. Again, it comes back to Saka on the right-hand side. And then one area with a turn. One area's got inter-players all round him. However, he was able to keep it, helped out by Partey. Then Saliba, his cross in. Barella is there, jumping at the ball and hooking it away. And then Thuram goes down, doesn't get the free kick. This time, Arsenal are still able to attack. Saka with White on the right. Saka's low ball in. Bissek has half cleared it. DeMarco's got it further away to the halfway line. Wave after wave now for Arsenal. You know, there is urgency now and intensity, because they have to, because we are now in the 90th minute and Inter are leading 1-0. And Zinchenko with a high pass to the back post. Havertz jumps through it, but Bissek was there as well. And the referee calls the medical people on, because there's been a clash of heads between Havertz and Bissek, and they're both lying on the ground. Yeah,
I mean, that was a hefty collision. Bissek does very well, and the players are really waving the medical teams on. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a real bump to the forehead of Kai Havertz as Bissek flicks his head back to flick and header the ball away. Havertz is coming onto the back of him, and they just clash heads. But I mean, how many deliveries have Arsenal put into the box? I mean, if you could count up all the crosses, De Vrij and Pavard have just got their big toe on everything that's dropped in that 6-yard box and just managed to flick it away every time. It's been that kind of defending all night.
I should say as well, you know, with a clash of heads here, and look, it's quite a nasty clash of heads for Havertz. This could be an issue for him for Chelsea on Sunday.
It's got potential. I mean, I think it looks more like a tissue injury as opposed to he's just kind of split his forehead. I don't think he was too heavily concussed, but he'll probably have a bit of a bump, and looks like he's got a split on the top of his forehead.
There's blood pouring down his face. Yeah, from it's as Matt says, as I told listeners in the first half, you're very good on your medical issues, and there's a cut probably right on the forehead line, so we'll have a lengthy stoppage here. You know, we're well beyond the 90 minutes now, and Martin Odegaard is going to come on and make his return, and David Raya is there on the halfway line to welcome him back. So we've got a stoppage here, which means that we can get the latest on Preston Sunderland from Sani Radravajala.
Well, the referee has just blown his whistle. Preston 0, Sunderland 0. The leaders remain top, but are held by a bright North End side. Villaloni, Kane, Kessler-Hayden had a huge chance just 90 seconds in, but put it wide. Now, I called it tenuous pre-match, but North End are now 22 midweek games unbeaten at home. You'll never sing that. Preston North End 0, Sunderland 0.
And that's a second consecutive 0-0 draw for Sunderland, the leaders. It is still Luton 1, Cardiff 0. They're still playing there. And what is the latest on the one-day international, Daniel Norcross?
Well, it's just finished the England innings. 263 for 8, unbelievable riches. 25 runs came from the last over thanks to the bat of Jofra Archer, who finished on 38 from just 17 balls with 3 sixes in there. It's a target they could only have dreamt of when they were 24 for 4. It's one that they could defend on an awkward pitch. 264 the West Indies going to need if they're going to clinch this series decider.
And here in Milan, Martin Odegaard returns to action for Arsenal with 2 minutes of added time played. He's been given the captain's armband as he ran on by Bukayo Saka. Martin Odegaard, who's missed the last 12 matches, and what a great sight it is to see him coming on. However, not such a good sight to see Kai Havertz, who's walking round the side of the pitch with a bandage being held to his head.
Yeah, I think the cut did look like it was kind of more in his hairline, didn't it, as opposed to around his forehead. So you're just thinking header in the ball. If you're thinking of Sunday, making sure that he plays, it may not be quite as bad an issue, but we'll have to wait and see.
We've got 5 minutes of added time, and that there might be more to add on after that. I don't know, because of that injury to Havertz. Atletico Madrid have beaten PSG, a late goal by Correa. So Paris Saint-Germain 1, Atletico Madrid 2. Also Sparta Prague 1, Brest 2 as a final score. Another win in the Champions League for Brest. Arsenal here facing their first defeat. 1-0 down, as Darmian's able to clear it from deep inside his own half. Thuram is challenging Saliba. There was a hesitation there from Saliba, who's actually recovered very well there, and conceded a throw in though, where Inzaghi just allowed the ball to bounce past him, as you would, of course. Anyone would.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell that in his mind he was very tempted to just snatch it at that moment, but backed off into his technical area, unlike Mikel Arteta moments ago.
Picked the ball off the field
off someone's toe
second half, and was booked for it. Throw in for Inter, who are nearly there. It'll be another fine victory this for Inter in the Champions League this season, after their 0-0 draw against Manchester City. They're going to have played Manchester City and Arsenal and not conceded a goal. That's not bad going.
It's impressive.
Very impressive from Simone Inzaghi's side, who have also beaten Red Star Belgrade 4-0 and Young Boys 1-0.
It's not five-star viewing though, John, is it?
No, it's not. It's not.
There's always a compromise.
Yeah, it's been gritty, it's been ugly, but it's winning football.
Yeah.
And Arsenal passing it out from the back, and Zinchenko back to Raya. This might be the last attack. 5 minutes have been added. There'll be controversy over the awarding of the penalty, I'm sure, from Mikel Arteta. Arsenal felt that they had a case themselves. Marino, who conceded the penalty when the goalkeeper, Sommer, came out and punched the ball but made contact with his head. But Arsenal now, this may well be the last attack. Saka, Darmian so close to him, Partey, then back to Rice, to White, I beg your pardon.
Superb.
Then forward, one airy, lovely turn, and the shot left-footed from just outside the area, flies away over the angle of post and bar. Superb play from the teenager.
So he's got some talent, this boy. He is a player. He really is. The way he received that ball, he's got a lovely shift of body weight. He throws the defender, takes it on his back foot, and then just somehow manages to roll out the situation. And on his left foot there, I really fancied him to hit the target. That felt like there was going to be a big moment happen for his Champions League debut at the San Siro. He just snatched at the shot a little bit and hit it way too high.
Goal kick. Still the final whistle does not come from the Romanian referee, so there might be one final chance for Arsenal if they can get this forward. But Saka is barged over by DiMarco. That's a free kick. Darmian's flopped to the floor. Simone Inzaghi is about 25 yards out of his coaching area, and he's getting yellow carded for that. So now both managers have been booked in the game, and it's a free kick. I think one last set piece now for Arsenal. This is it. This is the final fling. White plays it to Saka down the right, left-footed cross into the back post, but it's over Pavard, and it's beyond Gabriel. It's a goal kick, and I think everyone here in black and blue inside San Siro knows that's it. That's the last play of the match.
I mean, detail of marking players arriving in the box, awareness, locking in, using your body, being alive to any knockdowns. I mean, they've done it all in that 18-yard box tonight. Inter.
Luton have beaten Cardiff 1-0 in the Championship, and here in Milan, the goal kick is taken by Sommer, who's on track for yet another clean sheet be the first time Inter have kept 4 consecutive clean sheets in this competition. Arsenal take the throw. We're now in the 8th minute of added time, and still there might be a chance for Arsenal. Long and forward from Saliba. Bounces down for Jesus, into the area with a run, on his right foot, shoots though into the defender, bounces out. Zinchenko was beaten to it by Barella, and that is the last action of the match. What a win for Inter. Gritty, it was not pretty, but Inter have won it, and it's another setback for Arsenal, having lost at Newcastle on Saturday. Now on this Wednesday night here in northern Italy, their first defeat in this Champions League group. 1-0 Inter have won it, Matthew Upson.
Yeah, the result is a big setback for Arsenal, but I'll tell you what, John, I thought the performance was anything but. I thought it was a very good performance from Arsenal in terms of how they handled the game, the chances created. You know, there's going to be criticism about the fact that they're not getting enough goals. You know, players are not finding that final touch, and that is a big problem for Arsenal at the moment. But the way they went about the game, there's nothing wrong with in terms of the group of players, their mentality, the way they're fighting, they're being composed. I thought there were some real positives to take out of the performance. It just didn't have the result in the goals, which I know is crucial, and that's the whole point. But you know, it's not falling apart, shall we say. I think the performance had a bit of backbone and spirit to it.
This was a tough ask to come here tonight. And as we're saying, it says it all, that this Inter team, they're the Italian champions. They won the league last season by a mile. I mean, they've got a superb squad, and they are very well coached, and it says it all that they've played Manchester City and Arsenal this season and not conceded a goal.
Yeah, I mean, it's a defensive masterclass, isn't it? I mean, they're not giving the home fans much to get off the seat about. There's moments that they have, but to be honest, the way they defended the box, second balls, headers, using your body, it was top stuff from the 3 centre-backs.
Right. So that's it. Inter have beaten Arsenal by 1-0 here. The penalty from Çalhanoğlu just before half-time. After 10 o'clock tonight, remember, you can watch the highlights of all of these midweek Champions League matches. That's on the iPlayer. Match of the day is on with Mark Chapman and Theo Walcott and Stephen Warnock. That is on BBC One after the extended news that is about to come up. And more commentary tomorrow night from the Europa League. Manchester United's match against PAOK will be on the air tomorrow night. We'll continue to update you on the one-day international in the West Indies, where England have set the West Indies 264 to win the decider. You'll continue to hear updates on that throughout the course of Gordon Smart's programme. Gordon's coming up in a moment. We will be recording for the 5 Live Football Daily over the course of the next half hour, so you'll be able to hear that, all of the fallout from tonight's matches. But it is time now for Gordon to take it away with plenty to talk about.